Yes. And it's your girl, Mina Mendoza, little girl, big personality, queen of spice. It's that part. It's Thursday. It's 7 p.m. We here. We live and direct. We got extra special spicy guests with us. We got Paul con queso.
Hey.
Let's go.
I was just redubbed spicy queso as well.
Spicy queso.
I'll fuck with that.
Spicy queso.
I will accept that.
So, Paul, how are you feeling, my friend? How are you feeling?
I'm chilling. I mean, Mercury is hard reggaetoning, so I've been going through.
Reggaetoning.
It is hard reggaeton, but I'm good. I'm good. Through all of that, I'm good.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm
blessed. I'm blessed.
As we should be. You know, I feel like we should be grateful every day that we're breathing, that we're here on this earth, that, you know, that we're able to do the things that we're able to do. And I'm very grateful to have you.
And then when we ask for abundance and then we receive it, that we don't complain.
That part.
Because I be doing that all the time. I'm like, I want this, I want that, I want this. And then I get mad, booked, and busy. And I'm like, wait, but I want to slow down. I'm like, but I asked for this.
Yes, facts. You know? That's the universe answering you. So that also goes to show you, like, be careful with what words you put out there, because you are manifesting it. So I feel like that's the same thing with music. Like if you're singing specific lyrics, if you're saying certain, exactly, you know, just be clear on what you want from the world. Yeah. But anyways, before we go off topic or whatever, so we know how you feel and stuff. So let's kind of like, I guess, let's go into a little bit how this interview happened. Okay. You know, so a little bit of what you guys, I feel like I spoke about it briefly on my show. So I went to Poetry in the Bricks. Correct. Poetry in the Bricks. So Poetry in the Bricks is a beautiful, creative event that happens once a month, right?
Yeah, every third Wednesday at the City Lounge and Restaurant, downtown Newark.
Downtown Newark.
Yeah. So if you follow at City Lounge 973 on the gram, you can find them. And it's going to be happening on the 17th of May. Yeah. So just 6 days from now. And we have two incredible features. We got Gail and we got Janetza. And yeah, I mean, like, you came through last month and it was incredible. It was incredible. We had two really dope features, and the vibe was great. The vibe was high. And so I co-host and co-curate with Elliot Fant, aka Poet of My Environment. Yes. So if you want to follow him, that's the at P_O_M_E. I gotta memorize it for my Brody. Love it. But yeah, that's where we throw down for Newark. You know, it's sponsored by Aowwwww Culture Ventures LLC, which is the biggest poetry movement out of the Brick City. Nice. That I now am blessed to say I'm part of. Yeah. They just indoctrinated me, adopted me.
The ism, right? Culture.
The ism is also part of Evoloo, the Evoloo fam. Sean Battle, Treasure Board, Don Krypton, and then Notorious. We got a whole family tree. You know, we diverse. We out in these streets.
Support. Yeah. Love that. I love that. And I feel like with that event, it was actually my first ever like poetry event ever. Ever. And I remember like the reason I was going on it because the next day, shout out to Lori Love.
That interview was incredible.
I love her. Beautiful human being. Shout out to Lori Love. But
much love to Lori.
I wanted to know what it was about. I was like, all right, you know, because I heard her talk about it with me before, but I was like, I should try this because it'll give me more inspiration for the interview. And I'm so happy I did. And I'm so happy I went by myself. Yeah. Because I ain't going to lie, Paul. I was driving and I was by myself, you know, because I was like, damn, because I tried to invite my friends, but they were like, I don't know about that.
It's a Wednesday. I got work.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go. But as I got there, the street was kind of sketchy. I'm a cute girl. So I was like, oh, man, I'm about to go inside this space. This shit look kind of sketchy. And I remember I sat in my car for a good 5 minutes. And I was like, you know what? I got to go because I'm already here. And I remember I went in there by myself. And I feel like I just mingled.
Yeah.
Literally just mingled. And I feel like it was really dope. I really enjoyed that there's no judgment.
Absolutely.
That it's a very safe place for people to express themselves and come together with emotions and ideas and creativity. And I love the fact that there was also vendors there. I remember you guys had a massage person.
Massage chair, whole massage table.
Whole massage table.
Yeah.
You also had Shorty More Than Cupcakes.
Yep. More than a cupcake.
More than a cupcake. Yeah. Shout out to her, and I'm sorry I forgot your name. Jonice.
Yeah,
shout out to Jonice,
former student of mine. Yeah.
So Jonice, we actually connected, and she actually did an event for us here at Braver Studios.
Hey.
So I was like, oh my God, I like your cupcake, and then I was like, listen, if you're trying to get yourself out there, we were throwing an event, we were looking for vendors, and she literally slid right in.
Love
so shout out to Jonice.
Hey.
She definitely sold a lot of treats that day, a lot, and I remember she gave me 2 treats at the end of the day. I was like, oh, what's this? So those were so good.
Her cupcakes are incredible.
They are. Incredible. They were. It was the frosting for me. The frosting, I was like, ooh, this tastes mad good. Yeah. But we had her come through. Yeah. And it was just all a community. Like, everybody just helps one another, you know? So when I saw her, I was like, oh, snap, you really did it. But I loved, again, like, everything came from a positive, safe place. I feel like... I wish I could have had some of the food, though.
Oh, yeah. Next time.
I didn't get the food. I had the sweets and some drinks, but, I didn't have the food.
Yeah. Get a platter next time. Like, it's the whole experience. They got the hookah, you know.
Yeah,
hookah
I'm not
drink
big of a
specials.
hookah person.
Oh, I'm big on hookah.
Yeah.
I'm not Dominican, but in my blood, I guess.
I'm dead.
Somewhere in my heart, I'm like...
Prende la hookah.
Yep.
Prendela. Oh, shout out to Amanda. Hey. My best friend, Amanda. Hey. Shout out to Amanda. Stay in the check-in. One of my major supporters in life. There you go. We're doing the snaps today. We got snap. So, yes.
Oh, do you want the story behind the finger snaps?
Actually, yeah. But before we get into that, this is about you, my friend.
Okay, fair.
So, Paul, like, tell us more. So, we told the viewers how we met each other and basically how this kind of, like, this interview manifested itself. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about, first of all, your name. Yeah. Paul con Queso.
Yeah.
Where does this come from?
So, you know, Instagram. The first time I got an Instagram, I was like, what the fuck am I call myself? So I was like, I'm cheesy as, first of all, my blood type is cheese. I love cheese. That is like my main food group on the pyramid. Is like the base will be cheese. If you cut me open, I'm a bleed Velveeta.
What type of cheese? He said Velveeta.
It's gotta have spice to it. So I like pepper jack. I like anything with I really don't care. If it melts, I'll take it. And even if it don't, I'll take it. But I'm also a little bit cheesy. So y'all will see throughout the course of the interview. So it's like a double entendre. Like, I love cheese, so it's me, you know, and it's like pan con queso or salsa con queso, you know, the con queso. I'm just like, my name kind of sounds like pan. So I'm going to be Paul con queso. And then that segued into, like, it was my Instagram name for a really long time. And then when the pandy hit and I started performing at the Nuyorican online, right? I would just sign up with my handle in the chat on the Zooms, and then that eventually just became like, oh, coming to the stage is Paul con Queso, you know? So like,
it just became a household name.
It became a household name. It became my stage name. I just stepped into it. It was my online, you know, not alias, and then it became my nom de plume, my pen name. So now, you know, I'm published under it, I host under it, I do all that, because, you know, you kind of got to feel like it's like an MC name. You gotta have that other persona, you know. So Paul con Queso, when I step on stages, I cease to be Paul LaTorre, and then I'm Paul con Queso.
Okay.
So you know,
even with English, like, I feel like if you translate it to English, Paul with the cheese, so it's like, damn, he got big ass money. I don't know. That's what I thought about. I was like, if you say cheese, I'm like, all right. So let's continue this. So Paul con Queso, we got the history on how you got the name. Yeah. Now, let's talk a little bit about your writing.
Yeah.
When did you notice when did you start to have a fancy and make this about your life?
Well, I mean, I guess
I feel like there has to be something you read, something that you read that impacted you, or maybe an author, something. Yeah.
To me, poetry and hip hop have always been inextricably linked. Like, to me, they're like joined at the hip, and then somebody separated them and was like, you know, like, because to me, Gil Scott-Heron, right, and comment number 1, who will survive in America, who will survive in America, which it's sampled on Kanye's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. That to me is the first hip-hop song ever. It's set to some like Congo drum beats. It's very like neo soul. and it's a spoken word piece. But that to me is the spiritual ancestor of hip hop. Hip hop was started, you know, by DJs and MCs and B-boys, and the MCs were just improvised, you know, spitters, but it's really it's poetry. What's the difference between poetry and verse? You know,
I was about to say, I mean, you just got a beat. Yeah, that's it.
And I look at Kendrick Lamar, and Kendrick Lamar won a Pulitzer Prize just like 5 years ago when he wrote "Damn." Yeah, for "Damn," he won the Pulitzer Prize for writing. Wild. For writing, and it's like very few. No hip hop artist has done that prior to Kendrick, but it's because Kendrick's a poet. You know, J. Cole is a poet. Tupac was a poet. Lauryn Hill was a poet. You know, hip hop artists have been doing poetry long before, you know, we correlated the two. And to me, like, I was raised on hip hop. I was born and bred in Brick City. So, like, you know, to me, being raised on Tupac and being raised on even like wild shit like Ludacris. I grew up loving Ludacris and his punchlines, and I grew up loving like Eminem and his alliteration and his lyricism, and then I grew up loving Kanye and his swagger and his cockiness. So like it's kind of an amalgamation. I would put all of my inspirations, the Nas and the storytelling, right, like taking all of that and then putting it in kind of like a cauldron, like a melding pot, right, and then coming out with like poems have bars, like poems left and right. They got bars, they got imagery, right, there's double entendres and wordplay, there's storytelling, all the same elements of hip hop. So to me, like, my first poem got published in like 6th grade. A teacher saw a poem of mine, put it in a contest, and I ended up like winning the whole damn contest. I'm like,
oh my God.
Yeah, you're like, oh, young poets, young urban poets in New Jersey. And it's like, that
was the poem called?
Oh my God. It was about friendship. It was like when a friend,
F is for friends who do something
together. Down in the deep blue sea.
Hey, you already know. SpongeBob, Bikini Bottom vibes. Let's go. I wish we had a Bikini Bottom sound. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, that actually would be cool. An idea, Antoine. An idea.
But yeah, so like that got in, and it was about like when a friend is forever, then you can never sever. And I still remember some of the bars from it. But it was like that was one of the first things I got like actual recognition for. And I was a quiet kid. I was so introverted. I was so pensive and like anxious all the time. And that got me like noticed, and then my mom was like, I'm gonna put this in my office, in my cubicle.
I mean, I would. Like, I'd be like, look how smart my child is.
Yeah, so that was like, once I stepped in that doorway, I never really stopped writing. Then it became like I would start writing verses, like I would start writing freestyles in the middle of my classes. I would days off in art class and be like, I'm gonna just start writing bars, and then I would battle. I would freestyle battle dudes at like the high school football games, or just on the line at the club, at Copacabanas, or what. I would be battling on the line. Yeah, Copas. Team nights at Copas. Yup. I know you. The $15. Bring a coupon. It's $5 off. Girls get it for free. Yo, like Copas was the vibe in the early 2000s. It really was.
Copas and then it turned into Club Exit?
Yes. No, Club Exit was separate. Exit was separate, but it turned into another club. It's another club now, and Copa's like moved somewhere else.
Why do I feel like something is mixing
Club
me up
Exit
with
was
that?
something else. Club Deep, maybe it was Club Deep.
Maybe. All right, but I do remember Copas.
Yeah,
I do definitely remember Copas. Copas was lit.
But yeah, I remember being very, very. I was good at freestyle rapping. Yeah. I still have an ability. I still kick a cipher every now and then. The next time I do my event at the Nuyorican, we're actually gonna break into a cipher, because hip hop poetry, they're blood. Yeah. And so like I then gravitated back. You know, I was an MC. I was spitting. I had my mic name. It was Synthesis. You know, with an I. I was like Synthesis. Fire. You know, when I spit this shit, I rip your lid. Then I flip it. Yeah. But then that would get me in trouble because I had a big ass lip, and I would beat people in battles, and then they wouldn't know what to do. Like they wouldn't be able to retaliate. So I got punched in the head, like in the back of the head, like 2 or 3 times as a result of my ethering people. So like I had bars that people could not retaliate with words. So it's like they had to.
Paul, we gotta send you there with an entourage.
I need a helmet.
Oh my God.
I need somebody to watch my 20. You know, I need somebody to watch my back. But nah, I mean like that.
Wait, hold on. So you got punched in the face, and what happened?
I got punched in the side of my ear.
But what happened?
Then it turned into my homies versus his homies, and it turned into a whole big brawl. It was in Brooklyn on New Year's Eve of like 2003. I want to say
that's not cool.
It wasn't great. It was not great, but it's a memory. It's a memory.
You ate that shit.
I ate it. I ate the punch and I ate that battle. I ate it up.
No crumbs.
And then that eventually segued and tail end of high school. I was used to battle rapping, and one of my teachers, Mr. Kichi, never forget my junior year English teacher at Science High in Newark before it became Science Park High. He was my teacher, and he had us put together little collections of poetry. So I was out there writing my political, radical shit, and getting activated again into my poetry, not just doing it to be I bring the cannon down your block, but this ain't Monopoly. I snatch all your houses and now it's my property. I had my bars, but then it became more about where's the consciousness? And I was writing more about that's when, Bush invaded, Afghanistan and all that. And so it was, I was trying to, be a little bit more woke, as they would say. And
That's
then,
dope, though.
yeah, it led me back. And then starting college, I was just what am I going to do with my life? And I was oh, creative writing is a whole ass major. Let's do that. And then the rest of the path has just kind of unfolded as I went, and I never really gave up on it. Yeah, so that brings me to where I'm at now.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So creative writing.
Yeah.
So I guess being a professor with creative writing, do you ever get any students that don't come in as writers but come out as writers? Constantly.
I'd say a vast majority, because we, our creative writing program at Bloomfield College, which is where I teach, it's not a gigantic representation. We probably have 20, 25 majors at the college and some minors. So we get a majority of students that move through the general education, and they take it as an elective, an aesthetic appreciation, whatever. They come in, they're oh, I'm a nursing major. Oh, I'm a psych major. Oh, I'm a game design major. And they think poetry would have nothing to do with what they're doing. They're oh, I'm gonna just do it because it's easy credit. I'll just go and bullshit. I'll make up whatever. How hard can it be? But they come in and they act when they engage with it, right? And they see that poetry is literally the art of combining everything.
Yeah.
Poetry is acting, singing, it is psychology, it is sociology, the study of empathy and the human experience. So whether you're a philosophy, sociology, psych, science, nursing, whatever tech person, you can get into a poem scientifically. There's there's formulas, there's forms,
for sure.
there's ways you can write a poem to the structure. You got to break down the bar, the meter, and then there's the students who want to paint outside the line, the artists who are not word artists but more visual creative artists. They come in with a whole different perspective, and they're just going at it going out. So what if I do this here, and what if I turn my poem into the actual shape of some headphones around the ears, and then I'll form the headphones with my words, so that's they just start thinking 5D chess level shit. So it's actually, I would say I get way more students who had never, who are not writers or poets that come into my classes, and then we convert them.
That's dope.
I'm sorry, now you part of the cult, you one of us. We done converted you. But then I've had a ton of students switch over majors or take on a minor.
Yeah.
And to me it's poetry is a form of advocacy. Poetry is cheap, it's free therapy. So to me, I always feel the people who gravitate towards poetry are the people in need of expression. They need to get some shit off their chest. They need to talk their shit, or in need of healing, right? And then that leads to the expression, and then the clearing off of the chest. Because to me, poetry has always been my way of processing, my way of coming from wound to scar. To allow the wound to not just be raw and fresh, and not to strike those same nerves. So poetry to me has always been how I make sense of shit. You know? My mother died when I was 20. And so sorry. I mean, thank you. And so that week I was mad numb. I was numb the day that it happened on a Sunday, and then her wake was a Thursday, her funeral was a Friday. Between Monday and Thursday I could not cry a single tear. Right? I just wasn't, it didn't feel real. It wasn't registering. And so I spent that whole week I'm gonna throw it in a poem. I'm gonna throw this feeling in a poem. I'm gonna throw this creative block. I'm gonna get it out through my verse. And my plan was to read it at her funeral, which I did. And so that, in being able to put it down on paper or in my phone and make sense of it was the way that I was able to properly process my grief and my emotions. And then by the time I was ready, I had already written 90% of the poem. Then the floodgates opened. And then by the time I was reading the poem, I was crying in the club. I was just bawling. But it was what I needed. I needed that. Yeah. I needed that purge. I needed to break. That. Yeah. And that's poetry allows us to break safely. You know, it allows us to break and then reconstruct ourselves, like you said, in support. And the people at an open mic, it's not like you got pressure there. Like it's a rap battle where people are gonna be like, "Boo, you're choking." Like if people forget their words or people stumble while reading, people just be like, "Yo, you got this. We got you. Just breathe." Like people are literally like, "You got this shit, poet." Like you will never meet more supportive empaths than when you step in a poetry space, right? It's like just hella like, I don't want to say trauma bonding, but people be sharing the deepest shit you could ever think of.
I can imagine.
In an open space and in an open way where it's like you said, non-judgment. Like you're not gonna walk off that stage and somebody, "Oh really, you did that? So you like, oh, you cheated back in 12th grade? You mean you was out here for these streets?" No, because it's like the collective human experience. We could say some real shit, some wild shit in the context of a poem, and you're safe there. You know, like you can go and confess some real shit. They can't hold you legally responsible. Let's not have some young thug shit popping off. Like, but yeah, I always tell my students, like, it's a safe space. It's a confessional. It's a confession. You know, these are my confessions. Just when I thought it's sorry. But yeah, to me, it's always been like refuge. You know,
I love that.
And that's why, like, to me, it's so important. And the two things are interwoven. Like, whether it's, I'm very, very I am very conscious of mental health advocacy. Yeah. I facilitate 2 spaces for men's healing and men's talking spaces. Men don't talk often enough about our mental health, our suicidal ideation, our struggles, our actual human experience. We think we're supposed to just be tough all the time and man the fuck up. But poetry was always a place that I could be vulnerable safely. And so, like, I think that's incredibly important to have those spaces, you know, no matter your identity, no matter the intersections of identity. And you know, I think like that, a huge part of my writing is my advocacy for various, because like poetry is a way through to talk about anything. I've had students talk for the first time in their life about their sexual assault or being in an abusive relationship. And I'm a survivor of sexual assault. So the first place I ever told anybody or confronted or talked about it was in my poem. Right. And then that's a way forward for me to like normalize a conversation. Like, oh, I put it in art. Now it's out there in the world. I done said it. I can't take it back. It's written down. It's on wax.
No facts.
But it's also like it's a testament, you know, to like survival too. Because I've seen folks come in my wake of like other male colleagues of mine, students, friends of mine, to see me speak up and say some real shit that they were afraid of vocalizing because they had experienced themselves. And we have all these like shadows that hang over like our shame or people feeling like, oh, I experienced this and I'm alone with this. I'm alone in looking at myself and judging myself hard when I look in the mirror. I'm alone in, you know, having these dark thoughts, or I'm alone in having had this this thing right happen to me. And so when you hear somebody, when you see somebody on a stage also vocalizing that, letting that out, it's incredibly healing to feel seen like that.
I definitely I get a lot of that from poetry. Like just talking about you and like school and all that, it reminds me of like my professor. And I touched a little bit of base with this with Lori Love on my show. I forgot what his name was.
It'll come to you. It'll come to you later.
No, he was cool though. He was cool because I remember it was college, and I was taking an accelerated English course. It was English 2. And I was taking it in the summer. So it was like I had to learn it fast. And it was like one of the hardest class ever. It was so strict. And I think it was honors. I still am a smart person. But
big ups to the gifted kids.
That part. But I did not know what I was getting myself into. This professor was very strict. He made us every week, we had to write 5, I forgot what he called them. It wasn't opinions, but kind of like your own posts, synopsis of what, you have to read 5 poems from the book he gave us. And you have to pick 5 different poems or short stories, analysis, and you have to give your own analysis of what happens. And every week we had to pick 5 different stories or poems, and I only had them for 5 weeks. So that's a lot of writing, and each one has to have its own writing.
Did a rapid fire.
And then he gave us 2 papers. The first paper was 5 pages, and then the second paper had to be more than 10 pages. And I remember you could do a compare contrast or whatever, but this was a 4-week class. And that's all the work. And I had to show up.
You literally took like a normal class and like just put that shit in the fucking pressure cooker.
I was so stressed out. I got an A in that course, but he taught me how to write. I forgot his name, but he taught me how to write. And like, he made us, that was the first class that I could say that made me sit there and read poetry. And I ain't gonna lie, Paul, like the first time I read it, I was like, damn, like I'm bored.
This is hard. I can't crack this shit,
And then like, I remember the third day he started bringing some spicy shit in there. And then like, it was cool.
Is he giving you old dead white guys, or is he giving you like, serving you like Maya Angelou?
I feel like we did Maya Angelou. But it's just like, I felt like the first, second day was the basics. Like he had to give us the basics and all that.
Foundation.
But I learned a lot about how people write. Like one of my favorite writers was Robert Frost. I like Robert Frost because he's short and sweet, but he gets to a crazy point
through
with
woods
his
on
poems.
a snowy evening.
Facts.
Like, two paths diverged in a wood.
And I forgot what poem was it. It was called Barbie Doll.
Yeah.
It wasn't Maya Angelou. Kind of.
Oh, was that about like seeing the Barbie and kind of like looking up to it as a beauty standard? Yeah.
It's called Barbie Doll. I think it's called she starts with an L. I think she committed suicide.
Well, a lot of poets did. Not Sylvia Plath, right?
No, wait. I was thinking about Sylvia Plath, but I don't think she wrote that. Barbie Doll. We're gonna look it up. Barbie Doll poem.
Consult the gods of Google.
That part. I am definitely a Googler.
In my class, I always tell my students there is no... Marge
Piercy.
Got you.
That was, and I suggest anybody, especially anybody that is a woman watching my show or that goes by that pronoun, she, her, or they, or anybody that promotes...
identity.
Not promotes, but that supports feminism. I feel like reading that poem...
hardcore.
Reading that poem was definitely a good eye-opener because it really breaks down Barbie and like plastic surgery and how women look at themselves and how the world looks at them. And I was like, that. I remember that was the poem I read. I was like, all right, this is dope. I like this. And then because
you saw yourself, you saw your experience and your struggle, like.
Well, because I played with mad Barbies. I was like, you know,
and the Eurocentrized beauty standard, the impossible ratio. Like she got like her waist is like 22, then her hips is like 38,
exactly.
And it's like, bro, how? Like,
that shit was wild. So it was just like I always remember that poem, and then like a couple other things. He's the professor that taught me about the real fairy tales, like
dark.
So one thing I learned, Little Red Riding Hood is actually about puberty. I don't know if y'all know that, but look it up. I think it's called Grimm Tales.
Yeah, Grimm's Tales.
Grimson Tales.
The Brothers Grimm.
Grimm something.
Brothers Grimm.
And I never knew that.
Yeah.
So much. And it was
all the
all
fairy
in that
tales
class.
are dark. Yeah, and like
all the fairy
Little
tales.
Red Riding Hood because menstruation. And then the big bad wolf is like the people that might prey upon you as you come of age. As a woman, and then like the Little Mermaid, it's also about like in the actual book, like they show her getting her legs is like a hymen rupturing, right? So that's like symbolic of that. Like she mortgages her voice for legs, so it's like it's a lot of symbolism.
Oh yeah,
right. And reading into that, even what's the other one? Cinderella. It's mad dark. At the end, they like peck out the evil stepsister's eyes. Like they don't do that.
It's
and the other
not as nice as we think it is.
It's hard.
Disney
it's hardcore.
Definitely took all the stories and definitely I feel like made it more so that
palatable.
Kids wouldn't get scared.
But they watered it down.
Oh yeah, but once you like learn like the background of it, oh shit, like the whole thing, I was just blown away. And I remember, I will always remember that professor. I got an A-. That
the difficulty level you were on expert mode.
Oh shit, I was just still, like, oh my god, like this is wild.
That A- means more, right? That A- will slap harder than if you got like, well, this was a cake class. I barely did anything. You really feel like
I had to work for that A. That professor was hard. Yeah, that professor was hard. So shout out to him. Shout out to you. I'm always remember you. But let's continue this interview, love. So we talked a little bit about how we got our name. How we got into poetry through hip hop and just kind of absorbing that environment, and then slowly getting into creative writing and being a professor and how you are today. So I guess talk to me about your first open mic. How did you feel? Because I feel like that has to be a feeling.
The first one I ever spit at, or the first one I ever hosted?
First one you ever spit at.
Okay, so I gotta go back in the archives a little bit and
like
think.
Who were you with? Which one did you go to?
It was an open mic at a Starbucks in downtown Newark.
Starbucks!
It was at a Starbucks.
Shout out to Starbucks. Taking all my fucking money.
Yeah, yo.
Staying there every day.
Be real. The frap struggle is real. But yeah, so the Starbucks, that's that downtown Newark. So some Rutgers, Newark, like graduate students, I want to say.
Shout out to Newark.
Yeah.
Shout out to Newark. Y'all need to bring stuff like this more, you know, 'cause I feel like Starbucks got commercials. So to hear it, it's like, okay, y'all wanted to be an actual coffee house.
No, we decolonized that Starbucks. We did. We was in the back being loud as hell, being ethnic as hell. All right,
so let's go back. We're at Starbucks,
I
open
was there
mic.
at Starbucks. One of my sister's friends was like, "Oh, they got an open mic. We should go. You should bring some of your stuff." Because I had performed in my college at like, "Oh, there's going to be a reading, and we want you to read at it." And I read in front of a podium, and I have my, you know, I got everything there, and it's real introduction and all that. It's not the same vibe. You go to an open mic, and it's like, "Oh, you got to sign up. You got to tell them what your name is. You got to come. You got to curate exactly what piece you gonna spit." And then you go up and you are at the mercy of, you know, the audience and what the audience is going to give you and how they're going to love on you and receive it. So like you want them finger snaps from the crowd. You want people going fucking ape shit by the time you step off stage. You want that love. And so I went there and I remember I had this poem that was about like fingertips and love and about like loving your hands and all the things that hands do for you. It was like a useful tip for you fingertips. Always pierce gloves. You can never feel warmth if you never brushing up. And then like it's all this other shit. I was in my Loverboy shit. I was in my Loverboy era. And so like it's all about like I went there and I was so nervous because I was like, yo, I'm just a little baby undergrad and these are like graduate creative writing students. They're getting their MFAs. And I didn't even know what the fuck that was at the time. A Master of Fine Arts, which I now hold.
I just found out what that meant right now. Because Antoine's like, me too.
Yeah.
Like, yo, what
MFA means I'm a motherfucking
yo, he's about to pull
artist.
a gold badge out. Like, yo, what is this?
My Pokey badge. My MFA is a Master of Fine Arts. It's a terminal degree for creative writers, which means I could get a tenure job as a professor. I'm not a doctor, but I'm a master of fine arts.
Nice.
And to me, like those students were the goals. They were goals at that time because like I wanted to be doing it in Newark like that. And you know, I lived down the way in Ironbound, so I fucking walked all the way. At that time, I don't even think I had a car. I think I sold my car the year before, so I was on the struggle bus. I was taking the footmobile. But I went with like some of my friends, my sister's friends, and I went and I was nervous. I remember I was like shaking, reading off my phone, but on the other side of that anxiety was love. Like I was met with applause and embrace and people walking up to be like, yo, that was dope. And like, you know, the social gathering that comes with being at an open mic, it's communion, you know, like you breaking bread at the Starbucks, you having a croissant or some muffins with somebody, or you know, when you're at the bars that I host at, you're cheersing, you know. I always have a fucking drink in hand on stage, like always. I need it.
Liquid courage.
Yeah, liquid courage. But for me, it's just it lubricates the vibe. It makes me feel my relaxed self.
Poet lubricates the vibe.
Yeah, it lubricates the vibe.
I saw what you did there.
Yeah. But it also like I still get nervous every time that I perform or host because it's good nerves. It lets you know that you're doing something worthwhile. You know, it's taking a calculated risk. And so that was my calculated risk. Like jumping on that stage, I was still mad scared. I was like, what if I ain't shit? What if I fall? What if I stumble? And that's the same anxiety my students have all the time. So before I come up to our final reading, which is an open mic, I have them all sign their name and then curate that in the list they sign up. I always tell them, I'm like, you could literally fall here and you'll be safe. We'll catch you. You'll crowd surf. You'll be fine. We got you. And I'll literally fall to the floor in my classroom to exhibit to them. I'm like, I ain't break a bone. I'm good. Look. And they're like, get up off the floor, professor. Like, what is you doing, baby? Yeah. Sucio. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. But, so that open mic gave me the courage and then the impetus. Then at my college, that I graduated from Bloomfield College, the same place I teach at, I started an org there called Live Poets Society, LPS. And so like we took the Robin Williams movie Dead Poets Society, we took that, we flipped it on itself. We're like, oh, we live, we real live poets. So we gon' and that's still an org today at my college that I'm the advisor of. So we started that, and that's when I started hosting open mics and slams and other poetry events. And then we just grew from there. We had a radio show that was kind of like a podcast, kind of just like us chopping it up.
What was it called?
I don't even fucking remember. It was called like LPS Poetry Hour, right? And so we would like bring whoever wanted to come that week, and we would just have poems read. We would talk about the process of making the poem. Then we'd read the poem, and then we kind of do what you did with the write-up. We'd analyze. So the person who interviewed us, which that was my homie Nick Paleologos, he's one of the Nuyorican poets with me these days. We started from the Bloomfield, now we here. But he was our host in the control booth. He was our our master of DJ, VJ, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And so he would guide the process of like, oh, so like, tell us what was that line there? What was that couplet, right? Because like instead of a bar in poetry, it's like a couplet. What was that stanza about? And so like we would walk people through the process of like letting them behind our poem, right? Or behind our creative process. And so that's what really fascinated me in poetry, is not just like, oh, do I get on a stage and do I slay? Do I eat? But it's also like, how do you make it stronger? How do you make that recipe slap harder so the next time you prepare it and bring it to people, they really feel nourished, right? Yeah. So like I took a class in college that was a literary magazine class where we put together a book of all students' work from the community, from the college campus, and then they submit and we review, and at the end of the spring semester we publish it. We publish it, we have a performance, we have a book launch, and every contributor gets free books and people sign books, and you're published.
Love that.
And for me, that was my first like big publishing that wasn't the 6th grade shit. And so being part of that also tremendously grew me in my courage of being like, yo, I could do this for a living, I think. Okay. And I think I could be like a guide, a facilitator through the creative process. And then that love for doing that exact class that was taught by one of my mentors, Paul Ganega. Love that man. He's like a little fucking Yoda of poetry. He's not that little. But that brought me to the confidence that I had that I could be an educator, a higher educator, and so now like I teach that same class myself.
I love that.
And I just a week and 2 days ago we launched our 2023 BC Underground is the name of our magazine. If you want to follow us on the gram at BC_underground_. But we publish our student, alumni, staff, faculty work, and we've had a legacy of doing that. I've been doing that for 6-7 years now.
That's amazing.
As a publisher, and I published several other magazines too. We did one during the pandemic called Quarantine. We did 2 around social justice initiatives that started the summer of 2020 after George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, countless other names, Amani Kildia, so many names that don't get spoken about often enough. Called I Can't Breathe, and now we had I Can't Breathe Volume 2 back in December, and we sell it on Amazon. So if you want to support the cause, is I Can't Breathe or I Can't Breathe Volume 2 on Amazon by Underground Publishing. And we had people not even connected to the college publishing stuff from around the world. We had people in Japan getting stuff published, people literally Japan, Australia, like all over the world sending in their work and getting published. And then we did launches like broadcast live through Zoom. Brought us all together, and that was like I brought a lot of my Nuyorican Poets Cafe fam into that. The executive director of the cafe, La Bruja, she got some shit published in that as well. And like, once again, advocacy. That really matters to me. Activism, tying in to poetry too. Like, don't just talk about it, be about it. Put your money where your bars are.
That part.
And so like us being able to do that is deeply meaningful to me. Like poetry it ain't just for nothing. It ain't just out here for free like we do it at open mics.
That part.
But at the same time, if we can get money, people willing to pay for it, and then we can donate that to necessary causes. Like we donated money in relief of the hurricanes in Puerto Rico this past fall after Irene, and we donated money to Black Lives Matter New Jersey chapter, and we donated money to what's it called, like RAIN, sexual assault survivors, and we've done just countless causes. The ACLU, the Civil Liberties Union, to protect LGBTQ rights, right? So like our students literally took the social justice narrative and ran with it. They did everything you could think of, whether it's like, women, feminism, women's rights after all the Roe v. Wade bullshit. But yeah, I mean, like doing that, it means a lot to me to be able to do it on the other side, like to have somebody come and support you, and when you sign up at an open mic to be like, yo, you're here, we welcome you, we're holding you. And now on the other side, I get to be the person behind the mic to be like, yo, I'm gonna hype you up, I'm gonna be your hype man, and I'll be on the other side of this performance to hug you and hold you if you literally need it. You know, I've had people step off stages and have to cry on my shoulder, you know.
A safe place.
Yeah, but like
a safe place. Yeah, and that's a good thing, because it's like you want to be able to allow people to feel comfortable. You know, I guess to get more, because I'm hearing a lot of like positive things, and I want to hear positive things. Has there ever been an open mic where it hasn't been positive?
Oh yeah, shit goes left all the time at
so
open.
if we could keep things a little bit, like maybe a story you would like to share with us, short and sweet, just because I noticed, I was like, we only got 20 minutes left.
Oh no, I got you. Yeah, so
tell us, like, just so it could be like a balance, because like I'm sure stuff happens.
Yeah, no, I was at an open mic and somebody got on stage.
You got punched on the face.
No, that's only the battles. That's
the battle.
I have not been harmed as a host yet. But somebody took the platform, and I'm not gonna name names. But there was somebody started telling 9/11 jokes and Holocaust jokes, and I was like, oh no, this is not the place. Like, I get it's like complete no censorship, right? Like freedom of speech. I'm a big proponent of freedom of speech, but like homie started telling like real bad 9/11. He asked like, oh, is anybody here know a survivor of 9/11 or know a victim of 9/11? And then didn't even wait. It was like, good, and went into it, and like in the back of my mind, I'm like, my uncle.
Yo, mute his mic. I'd be like, yo, if I was controlling, I'd be like, yo, mute it, disconnect it. Like if Forrest Gump, when the guy just start pulling all the wires, that's what I would be doing. I'd be like, yo.
So I was just sitting there with the shocked Pikachu face, like,
yo, facts. That got me with the shocked Pikachu face. I'm like, yo, listen, you could express yourself, but you also want to make sure that you're making people feel comfortable. That's wild.
Do no harm. And I have another quick story.
What's it? Star and Buckwild got canceled for that.
Yeah.
When they made fun of 9/11, they got canceled for that.
I mean, comedy is comedy, you know, like comedy is comedy, but it's also like you got to be careful with your platform that you're not actively trying to harm or use other people's legitimate suffering, right? For entertainment, just for entertainment's sake.
Don't
like
use that as a pedestal
no higher purpose
for your fucked up shit. Yeah, like nah.
Somebody in another poetry community also wrote a poem that was equating his divorce to being raped, and he said that divorce is worse than rape. And I was like, bro, that the math's not mathing, the correlation so yeah, somebody who both had been divorced and had experiences of survivorship, I was like, bro, listen, you say what you want, but you should also know your words are doing active harm. Like, why? Why? Backstreet Boys, tell me why.
So I guess because of this, do you go through the poems first before they're being read out, or you still let them organically
No, in open mic is you sign your name, and we don't know what you're gonna give us. We don't vet. You know, if I was publishing something, yes, we pour through, we vote, we vet it, we literally edit every single piece. But if it's on a stage, if people sign up, it's not like we're like, yeah, send us the script beforehand. No, like you sign your name, we call your name. I have no idea what's gonna happen in those 3 to 5 minutes. I have no clue. It's taking me by surprise as much as it is every other person there. And as a host, like, it can be scary. I always got to be on guard, even though I'm trying to.
My stomach would fall to my asshole. I'd be like, yo, what the fuck just happened? You're not allowed to talk anymore.
Yup. And I'll be real careful about being like supporting. Like, I don't be co-signing just anything, you know. If people be on some Star and Buck Wild shit, I'd be like, I'd be like, we do not condone this message. I do not support this message. This is not brought to you by Polk on Queso and Poetry in the Bricks. But yeah, I mean, wild shit does happen. You really can't predict what's gonna happen at any.
Say what?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess when that does happen, what do you do to keep harmony in the place? Before they burn it. I mean, coming with the stakes.
Yeah, yo,
like no.
People would have came after my man with pitchforks, but the night was already winding down at that point. Luckily, it was like quieter vibes, so people were not ready to harm him. But even like the other people that came with him were like, bro, what was wrong with you? What was going through your? Why did you think that was gonna be okay?
Yo, where's the you play stupid games?
Yeah. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
Freaking crazy ass.
like afterwards, humor is the great equalizer. So like I'm just a big awkward I steer into the awkwardness, or you know, I'll barrel roll off that shit. So to me, it's always just like, I'm gonna dance my way through it, I'm gonna joke my way through it, I'm gonna make fun of myself through it if I have to, because to me, like, part of being a host is you have to be able to roll with the punches.
Yo, facts.
You know, and just like freestyling, it's a lot of improvising. Everything I do as a host, nothing is scripted. The names of people I'm gonna thank is scripted, and I might have one like call and response. So like mine is like, when I say brick, y'all say city, brick.
City.
Brick.
City.
Brick.
City.
All right, you fucking with me. So that's like my only things. I know I'm gonna come in and have this one rundown, but literally everything else is just like freestyle it as you go. Just like fucking jazz that shit. So when things go left, I also have to jazz.
You gotta adapt and evolve.
It's
Adapt
so
and evolve.
hard.
When's your birthday?
I'm a Sag. 11/22.
Ooh.
The first day of Sagittarius
so
seasons.
You a
I'm a
Sag
cusp.
and a Scorpio.
I'm a cusp, baby.
Oosh.
I grew up my whole life thinking I was a Scorpio, because according to the stars, my mom told me, "Oh, you're a Scorpio. You know, but you're on the cusp." And I didn't know what the fuck that meant. I'm 9 years old. I don't know what a cusp is. But then growing up, I went into Barnes and Nobles on dates, and I'd be like, "Wait, I am not somebody. I've been lied to my whole life."
It makes sense now.
I was like, the fire breathing makes sense, but also I don't think I was truly a fire breather until I was like 17, 18, came into my confidence. I was a chubby kid. I was an awkward introvert. And then I found my voice on stages and in spaces through my work. I came into myself, right? And now like nobody could shut me up. I don't stop. However, I think I kind of like I evolved into a fire type, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even really start out as a Charmander, but now I'm a motherfucking Charizard EX.
Charizard!
I'm a Charizard. I'm spitting flamethrowers, but
I think Squirtle is the coolest.
Squirtle is so dope. That was my first car's name, was Squirtle.
Really?
She was a boxy 1990 Honda Civic.
Squirtle was fucking gangsta.
Yeah, Squirtle
and
was
I can't have Bulbasaur because I'll probably try to smoke him.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, he'll give you part of his leaf.
Be like,
he'll give
you got
some razor
special
leaves.
plants? Do something. Like, I'm like, what?
But it's also a whole you just outed yourself. You a Squirtle. So you're a Squirtle. Like, it's a personality test. Like, which starter would you choose? And I would choose Charmander, and I guess it makes sense now because I didn't know. I was a fire type all the while.
I mean, I'm not a water sign.
Nah, but
I'm an earth sign.
But there is no.
But my rising sign is Leo.
Yeah.
And I think so what I heard is like your sun sign is you.
Yes.
Then your moon sign is like your inside of what people don't really see as much.
Your deeper self.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm a Sun Capricorn. My moon sign's a Pisces, so I feel like that's where I get like all weenie and emotional and sad.
Emo,
sometimes.
sad girl.
But that's where I get my music from.
Hey.
You know, because
music is emotion.
It is emotion. It's writing. It's music. I'm a big I love all types of music. I'm a big empath. I feel like
big empath.
Lead with empathy all the time because you don't know what people are going through. So I always like to get curious and never assume. But then my rising sign is Leo. It's just like, yo, confident, big dick energy. Let's go. So it's just like,
I got a line tattoo. Not even a Leo. Not anywhere in my chart. I just believe in the big dick energy.
Yeah.
We got to lead with that. You have to.
But Sagittarius people are cool. My best friend Amanda's a Sagittarius.
Shouts Amanda.
Shout out to Amanda.
Hey.
Yo, our check-in is popping right now. I'm so sorry for neglecting you guys.
Also, the ism is also a Sagittarius. That's one of my Sag brothers, and Don Krypton, 2 other members of Evolute Culture. So shouts out to the Sag gang in the building.
I love Sagittarius. I feel like for me, Sagittarius. Well,
some people call us Sagittarists.
Sagittarius.
They think like Sagittarius because we are so outspoken and won't bite our tongue that we could like hurt people. But I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that.
Shit. To me, it's like, don't get me wrong. I do feel like sometimes like it could be a little too blunt, but I'd rather it be blunt and then have you talk. I'll be like, listen, what you just said was like out of pocket.
Yeah.
But
I'd rather you say that to my face than say some some muted shit.
I could talk to a Sag and they'll be able to take accountability for what they said. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the part of communication.
I own it. If I'm gonna shoot from the hip, I'm gonna own that clip. I'm gonna own it.
Yo, for real. Yeah. And that's something that I feel like I love about Sagittarius. It's just like, they're blunt, but just because they're blunt doesn't mean you have to take everything they say so literal. And if you do feel some type of way, talk about it.
I'm also big like ridiculous humor vibes. Like if I say some shit, don't quote me literally. I say some wild shit that could get me in trouble all the time at work. I be saying the wildest shit.
I think I've caught my best friend like, yo, and I'd be like, too soon, Amanda. Too soon.
Don't be the 9/11 person, Amanda.
And I think she knows what I'm talking about. She's still watching.
Oh, no.
Yeah. She's
but
over
it's
here.
okay. I mean, like I think a lot of humor's got to be a little bit fucked up and edgy, but not too edgy. We gotta tiptoe the balance.
So me and my best friend Amanda found out. So what year were you born?
Oof, 87.
87. Oh my God. I'm younger than you.
Okay, that's cool.
Not that bad though. I was born 1990.
Oh, okay.
So we're not that far apart.
No, we same generation.
But we're millennials.
Yeah, we are.
So you know I'm going to keep talking about this. Because it's so true. So there's a word for us.
We're
called chuggies.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's an actual word.
Okay,
they're making fun of us.
Break it down. The
so
etymology.
Chuggy, because I feel like as millennials, we all went through a period of kind of like, I don't know, just like cheesiness, I guess. Like the whole mustache, we had the whole, I'm mustachio,
but I'll shave it for later.
So we had that. What else did we have?
All the same dad jokes. We had the Yo Mama book jokes that we got at the Scholastic Book Fair.
And then like we went through fashion where everything was like super intergalactic with stars.
Pants, the UFO pants.
Well, that was more 90s.
Well, that's true. But early 2000s, you just Spice Girls. You got your Spice Girl boots
for sure.
on. Yeah.
But that's not chuggy though. Chuggy, so the style of chuggy is like the whole skinny. So you know how nobody wants to wear skinny jeans now?
Yeah. Oh, I wear them.
Oh, I wear them too.
I give zero fucks.
Me and Amanda had a whole conversation. Like, I'm not throwing away my skinny jeans.
I have incredible calves.
Let me tell you
I'm going to wear skinny jeans.
To Gen Z people, that is chuggy. Okay. So chuggy is like, you know how we had that quote, live, laugh, love?
Oh, no.
So it's live, laugh, chuggy. So that's chuggy.
Oh, so they just making us the butt.
Chuggy is just the corniness.
Yeah.
It's basically another word for corny.
Okay. Yeah.
So
but they wish they could be us though.
That part.
They're the ones like, I'm gonna wear my Aaliyah shirt and I'm gonna,
Yo, that's true. You fucking
They
want
to be us so bad. They want to be 90 Babies so bad.
Yo, that's part
They're
two.
Like, I watch Kenan and
I challenge people. I always say, like if I see people coming, I had in my job, I had a chick, she showed up with like a Queen shirt and I'm like, I love Freddie Mercury. She had no idea who I was talking about. I was like,
they wear a Nirvana shirt, don't know Kurt Cobain. Kurt
Cobain will be rolling in his grave for that. Literally rolling in his grave. But I guess like that's chuggy. So
I hate that.
So our new thing is don't be chuggy. I'm not gonna lie. I be using it sometimes. I be like, yo, don't be chuggy.
I'll drag myself. It's fine.
But that's my whole thing.
Yeah.
You guys talk so much shit.
For real.
About us, but you're wearing kind of what you said, 90s shit.
They're bringing back the 90s style, the 90s music, OD, right? Like
see, like we grew up in that. We could do that.
We could
do it. We could do that.
We have ownership.
But you guys don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And my students are heavy on they really love the late 90s, early 2000s. But they be messing up the eras. I'm like, yeah, give me some 90s R&B. And they'll be like, yeah, why don't you do some, they'll just do some T-Pain. I'm like, that is not what is, what are you doing, baby? No, please, no.
No.
But it's okay. It's okay. It's on a playlist that says 90s, so maybe they conflated it. It's okay.
Yo, Baz, shout out to Baz Zaytoon. I'm so sorry for everybody I ignored. It's just this is popping up. He's like, you a chuggy. He's talking to me. You a chuggy, bitch. Chuggy ass. Fuck out of here. Yes, I love. I do apologize. No, that's good though. I feel like our watchers are entertained.
Yes.
But I gotta ask a question.
Yeah, of course.
Because I do ask my guests this question every time. I gotta ask you two questions before the show ends. Yeah. One is why I just brain fart right now. Nah. This is live.
You got this.
Okay, what's your favorite sandwich?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Why are you doing this to me?
Shout out to Vegan Wine. He's not in the check-in, but I always think about it. What is Paul con Queso's favorite sandwich?
It's got to be a spicy chicken sandwich with cheese. It don't got to be Wendy's, but Wendy's started the addiction. I'm literally addicted to spicy fried chicken sandwich. Fried chicken sandwiches, period. Fried chicken and cheese are my two food groups.
Nice.
So yeah, if you throw some good like crispy fried chicken on a bun, you throw some whatever else, I don't give a fuck. If there's cheese on there too, keep it a buck. I'm good. It could be a Poppy store fried chicken. I don't care. I don't care if it comes from the Poppy store, just not Subway.
Yeah, Subway bread is weird.
Smell like feet. Tastes like sponge. Not fucking with it.
No.
However, yeah, it could be a poppy store. It could be an Italian. It could be a chicken parm. I don't care. If there's fried chicken, there's cheese. It's for me, and I'm so glad it's becoming a trend.
You're a cutlet person.
I am. I'm a fried chicken person. Fried chicken. It does. The Popeyes. I fucks with the Popeyes.
What makes the difference of a chicken cutlet and fried chicken?
A cutlet is more like Italian. I feel like a cutlet.
Like
I'm expecting like oregano in the breadcrumbs, and like it's thin.
Okay. You want buttermilk?
I want buttermilk.
Okay.
I need pepper. I need spice in my seasoning.
My arteries to clock. Yeah, okay, I get it.
I need to taste the grease through the bread. There's an episode of The Fresh Prince where like he brings Will, his homie from Philly, brings him like a bag of the Philly cheesesteaks. Because earlier that day somebody brought him one. This is not a Philly cheesesteak. I can still see. I can't see through the bag. And then he gets it, and the grease spots are in the bag. Like it's a good Poppy store sandwich or a good like corner store cheesesteak if you could literally see through the wrapper. Like this that white fucking whatever wrapper you call it. I don't know.
It's called like paper. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
All right. Your favorite sandwich is any spicy chicken, fried chicken with cheese sandwich.
Yes, it needs both.
It needs both. Okay. I like that. I never had anyone say that. I've had people say turkey and cheese.
Nah, chill.
Roast beef,
or
all
BLT,
that,
whatever, yeah,
all that.
The Poppy store sandwiches, they just hit different.
They do,
yeah. But to me, like I don't care. I will go. My electric chair meal will include a fried chicken with cheese sandwich and some cheese fries. I told you, con queso. It's very cheesy. It's very cheesy.
It's cheesy.
It's very cheesy.
All right, so I have another question, and I keep forgetting to fucking bring the coaster in here. I'm so sorry, Nadine. I love you. I'm going to go to your wedding next Sunday. I already got the dress today. I bought that dress today. It's just fire.
Congrats in advance.
Thank you. Yo, that dress was hard to find.
Yeah.
But I found it. But anyways, my next question to you is, you're going to pretend that I am going to give you a unlimited, this is like a Black American Express unlimited card. Like,
oh no,
Paul,
I know what
you
this
will
is because
never.
I heard it in your other interviews, and I'm not ready for it.
Well, you gotta be ready for it. So you got 24 hours to use this card. You will never have to owe money back again for that 24 hours. So you gotta make sure strategically, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Okay, I'm taking that card. I'm doing a drive-through of all of Newark, and I'm paying off everybody's rent. I'm paying off everything that I can as far as clearing debt, college debt. Like, I'm going to just go to wherever the college debt folks are, and I'm going to clear up my own because I got like 110K of that. It hurts. It hurts so deep in my soul. However, I'm clearing the books, and I'm giving all the people from my community who've been so long disadvantaged, because I can't do it for the whole world. I only got a day. So I'll start with my peoples. I will start in the foundation of where I come from, and I will try and level the playing field, buy folks things that they need, pay their rent, take care of shit, do what I need to do in order to make sure that there's no lack. Yes. Right? Yeah. And then, I'm gonna throw some stacks at the family too. But, that's really it. Like, to me, it's like booking flights. Yeah, cool. I could do that on my own and like trying to explore and do other things in the world. But being a big empath, being somebody who's big into active, like I want to try to give people every advantage that those who are privileged have, right? I think like that's true equality. Yeah. And that is like how we truly take it from, like, I'm a child of poverty. I come from an incredible amount of porn. Like I love food so much because I grew up with food insecurity, and dealt with eating disorders and stuff like that. So like it matters to me when I see students who go hungry and go without. I make sure, I'm like, yo, do you need me to buy you something? Like, literally at my job this morning, a student, they stopped, our cafeteria closed for the summer at the college, and I was like, do you need something? If you don't have breakfast, let me know. I will Grubhub this shit for you right now. Because to see people go without, like, it's what kills me. So I think like a great equalizer is to say, like, I got this unlimited card, let me take care of y'all, let me take care of us, at least clear the debts, and then start people at an even level playing field. Because I know for me, the deck has always been stacked against folks of marginalized communities. Like, we come in with redlining, with living in you know, hoods where we always got to replace one thing or another, you know, and we always got to rob Peter to pay Paul. That's my mom would always say that, and she would live by it because she was always maxing out a credit card, sometimes in my name, in order to just pay bills and get by, and then trying to scramble in the aftermath, being in survival mode. And you can't make good decisions while being in survival mode, and that's why crime and inequity and all these things that exist happen. It's not because people in poverty are violent or inherently, like, I'm a big Aladdin proponent. Like, yeah, I'm gonna steal when I need to. I stole a lot as a teenager, but I stole to feed myself.
But I also feel like it's myself. Like your environment. Like, one thing I'm always advocate for. Yeah. And I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, you good.
I just felt like if I didn't say it, I'm gonna forget. So one thing that I don't like is, because I grew up in Patterson. You know, that's a sister city with Newark. That part.
Similar struggles.
And, you know, growing up as a minority, being a Latina, my parents being immigrants, and my whole family being immigrants, it was definitely, I wouldn't say poverty, but definitely, we struggled. We definitely struggled. Yeah. Like, I remember my room being the size of my bathroom right now. Like, it was small, like very, very small.
Sleeping on your bedroom is the couch.
Yeah, basically. Well, I never had that type of situation, but I just remember one time my friend came to my house and she was like, "Why is your house so small?" And I never realized how small my house was.
It's no perspective, you know.
But going back to what I wanted to say is just that I feel like the issue is the fact that a lot of these poverty-stricken places, such as Patterson, Newark, Passaic, Camden, what I don't like is, like, they're so quick to approve a liquor store, a bodega. Like, they're so quick to approve these things. Check cashing, bail bonds.
Places that promote that cyclical struggle.
But when it comes to promoting, like,
a fresh foods market,
like a rec center, a recreational center, all that, it's like harder.
My life as a kid,
it's like harder, and I never more red tape and then it's just like, how could you expect a human being to adapt and evolve when their environment keeps producing this?
It's because it's by design.
Oh, absolutely.
It's because these are systems of inequity.
I'm just like, why do I need 5 different bodegas, or why do I need 5 different liquor stores?
Why do I need a gun shop down the block from the fucking liquor store? You know, like, those two things going to get you putting a powder keg next to the fucking fire. Fire store. That's not a thing. But however, like, that's why societies of marginalized people and in impoverished communities, a lot of the public schools mirror the prison pipeline system, right? Like, everything they're stressed is behavior and obedience. And why? Where's the why are you you know, defunding creativity? And they strip the arts from those public schools, but then all of the charter schools and the private schools and the privileged areas, they get all of the programs and they get all the budgets and they get the marching bands and they get the trips to Disney for their senior trip in Europe. I hear people being like, "Oh, I went to Europe for my senior class trip." I'm like, "Bruh, we went to we didn't even go to Six Flags. I don't know where the fuck we went." But, like, that's the thing. Also, I don't think our placement in life and in the world, whether that's economically or geographically, like, just because I grew up in Newark, I went to a magnet school, which you had to apply to get into, get accepted, have certain stipulations. But that's because we were all we were charged to want more, you know, and so we had to reach out and grab that, which sucks. It should just be, you know, that you get funneled into what works best for you, and everybody's supported toward a strength. But in, you know, in certain cities, it's not like that because of the division of resources and the allocation. They want people to be crabs in a bucket, you know.
That's not cool.
But that's how the top 1% keep lining their pockets, and they stay fat because they keep people like, you know, where we come from, they keep us struggling and starving and hustling, grinding ourselves to a fine powder so they could sniff it. You know? And that's not.
I feel like we gotta get a part 2 on this. Because our time is done, my friend. It is done. I'm looking at the time. I'm like, oh no, but I want you to say what you guys say. We definitely got to welcome you back. We got to have a part 2 come through.
I'll spit a poem for you next time, and I'll give you the finger stab story.
We didn't get to do a poem. No, part 2 got to be with a poem. Part 2 got to be with a poem.
I got you.
So real quick, Paul, before we let the viewers go, any shout outs, any events that are coming up that you want people to join, give your Instagram handle one more time.
So
And then we out of here.
Okay, so follow me at Po Con Queso on Instagram and Linktree. And then this coming Wednesday at City Lounge, Poetry in the Bricks. We got our double features. It's co-hosted by my brother Poem. An Evolute Culture sponsored. That's happening at 8 p.m. at the City Lounge, downtown Newark. And then next Friday, a week from tomorrow, at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. It is the MSG of poetry, world famous. The first place, hella MCs. MF Doom spit there for the first time. Yeah, but that's like, it's an iconic, it literally is the iconic space for poetry in New York City and the world. I'm hosting an event there called Voices and Vibes. It's a karaoke and vocal open mic. Okay. So like singers, musicians, because they also call me Paul Con Karaoke. I love to sing. I could break the dust off these vocal cords next time too. Because I sample a lot of music in my poems. So in the community, right, like they were like, I pitched a show and they were like, oh, you should do a karaoke. And at first it was just called the Karaoke After Party, but now it's evolved, Charizarded itself into what's called Voices and Vibes. Okay. And that's happening all the fucking time. Like now it's 3 Fridays a month at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. The next one is May 19th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. We happy hour vibes. We lead into the Friday night slam, which happens at 10, which is like the big program for but yeah, come through, buy some tickets. It's only $5. The one in Newark is free. Poetry in the Bricks is free. However, at the Nuyorican, you got to buy tickets at nuyorican.org. And then, you know, come through. It's only $5. I'll buy you a drink, you know. Come through, pull up, see me sing. Hey. I sacrifice myself at the beginning of every show. I sing a different karaoke song, or I'd mix in some originals. We have we always have an original artist feature. This month's is MP14. He's an incredible rapper from Hoboken, New Jersey. I'm getting all my Jersey people all the opportunities I can. And he's an incredible rapper. He is like bullet time fast. Like this man is crazy. He's like machine gun. But yeah, come out, come through, pull up to the Nuyorican, pull up to City Lounge. The 17th is City Lounge. The 19th is the Nuyo. Please follow me. Keep up.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on, though, Mina.
Thank you for coming by. Like, it's all a community thing. And when I met you, I was like, oh, we got to get this person in the show. And now we got to have a part 2 because we got a poem.
I know.
We got to get the poem.
It's all good.
So to all my viewers, everybody that tuned in with us, thank you so much. Any new viewers that tuned in with us, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, especially if you love seeing content like this. And that's about it. All my friends that tuned in today, I'm sorry that I didn't connect much today. I was really into the interview, and then by the time I noticed, I was like, oh my God, there was just comments going on nowhere. But either way, I'm sorry. Thank you so much to just supporting and watching. And it's your girl Mina Mendoza, little girl, big personality. We out of here, Queen of Spice.